Okay, so hello everyone. Today is Wednesday, September the 6th, and we are in our third chapter. We are studying, continuing our study of in A Course in Miracles. We are in chapter 3, The Innocent Perception, section 2, Miracles as True Perception, and we are in the final, on the final paragraph, paragraph 6 of this section, section 2. So would anyone like to start us off in prayer? Okay, I will. Let's just allow ourselves to be in this present moment at this present time. Take a couple of deep breaths. And in each inhale, continue to surround yourself with blessings, peace, love, strength, all things positive. And as we exhale, exhale all worry, doubt, any form of negativity, any form of a sense of lack. Just allow that to drift away from your mind, from your body, from your consciousness at this moment. And as we inhale again, know that we are being filled with the awareness of spirit. And as we exhale, surround ourselves with this love, with this victory, this strength, with this glory. And as we come together as a group to task ourselves with understanding the knowledge in A Course in Miracles, what we can bring into our lives to help us grow, help us facilitate change in our life, to rid ourselves of any shadow that may be lingering or foretelling of a new understanding that we just can't see just yet. And as we come together with this one conscious mind of growth, learning, and expectation, let's just simply be grateful. Be grateful for the opportunity that we have at this time to be together, to share with one another these moments of growth. And as we hold ourselves in this sense of gratitude, let's just release into the atmosphere all that we will learn, all that we will trust, all that we will grow on and grow through. And with that, we say, and so it is.
So it is.
And so it is.
Okay, Harriet, would you like to begin?
I can, yes. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I hope you're having as great a day as I am. My day could not be better.
Fantastic.
As was mentioned, we are in the second segment or section of the third chapter of A Course in Miracles, and we're on the last paragraph of this second section. And it reads, the way to correct distortions is to withdraw your faith in them and invest it only in what is true. You cannot make untruth true. If you are willing to accept what is true in everything you perceive, you let it be true for you. Truth overcomes all error, and those who live in error and emptiness can never find lasting solace. If you perceive truly, you are canceling out misperceptions in yourself and in others simultaneously. Because you see them as they are, you offer them your acceptance of their truth so they can accept it for themselves. This is the healing that the miracle induces. The only way to correct distortions is to withdraw your faith in them and invest it only in what is true. And curiosity, I decided to look up distortions. Not truly or completely representing the facts or reality. Misrepresented, false, twisted, deformed, misshapen. All of those describe or give us the meaning of distortion. So what that sentence to me is saying that if something is distorted to me, if once I dismiss it, the truth will shine. And when I see that truth, it means peace, it means love, it means freedom, all of the above.
Yeah, I like it. It says that the way to correct distortions is to withdraw your faith in them and to invest only in what is true.
Mhm.
And it's really important that we do, first of all, understand what a distortion is. Like, it was great that you looked that word up. Because sometimes where we are in a situation in life, and we have allowed some type of emotion to come through, whether it's love or hate. If we're not seeing how what is if there are any distortions in the thing that we're looking at,
Mhm.
and then it says and to withdraw our faith from that. And I think that's really important, because if I'm in a bad marriage, and for some odd reason I have only seen bad marriages throughout life, and and I'm afraid not to be married, then that is a distortion. So it's going to be important that I withdraw my faith from not necessarily from the marriage, but from the badness of it.
Exactly.
I can stay in the marriage, but I can make the marriage good,
Mhm.
and the marriage can be good if we're allowed to
Mhm.
to invest in only what is true, as opposed to saying, okay, well, I'm afraid to be in single, so I'll
Mhm.
stay in a bad marriage. If I say to myself, I know that this marriage is worth it, and how do I not no longer have faith in the distortions of it, then the marriage itself can shift that paradigm, and it can become that glorious thing.
Mhm. Mhm. And
So
that takes cooperation on the part of both parties too.
yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I just wanted to add that distortion can sometimes come from things that we have been taught and made to believe.
Oh.
What happened? What does that mean? Sometimes things that we are taught and made to believe, because I feel that there are a lot of distortions being taught and being instilled in the minds of souls by some of our Christian leaders,
Yeah.
you know? And that is just as dangerous and harmful as being, influenced by evil, for lack of a better word.
I agree. What about you, Forrest?
I'm just
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
no, right now I'm just listening.
Okay, that's what I thought you said.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's why it's so important that we look up information for ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
to see, because everybody, people who are saying something, they don't necessarily mean for it to be a distortion. Sometimes
Exactly.
sometimes it can be well-meaning, but it's still
It's-
distorted.
It's an error, yeah.
Yeah. And when we read it for ourselves, and I think that's why a lot of people now, they call it deconstructing Christianity.
Mhm.
I think that they're just really starting to they're just really starting to see the information for themselves. So it's not so much that they are just deconstructing it. It's just that they are separating the traditional religion, separating that from what the text and the spirit of the law, as opposed to the letter of the law.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
And it's interesting that you say that, because if you read the Bible, and especially if you read the Gospels as written by, and even there, I think sometimes the writers or the authors of those Gospels are writing based on not necessarily what they witnessed, but what they have been told.
yeah,
But
yeah,
what I was trying to say is that even what they're telling us is what they have been told or what they have witnessed on the life of Jesus. And he tells us a whole lot. Some of it, he tells it in parables, he tells it in many ways, but he gets his message across. And sometimes in our modern language, we don't necessarily always understand what he's trying to say. But if we read the words that he has said, or that he has been alleged to have said, and ask for guidance in understanding those words, it will all come clear to us.
yeah, yeah. I agree with that. Let's see. Number 2, you cannot make untruth true.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, people do it all the time.
See. Mhm.
And I
Yes.
think that's how we get things get into distortion.
Mhm.
Because people have been making untruths true. And once you write it down and you close up that book, and nobody looks at it again, and then the next time they look at it, now it is the truth.
Mhm.
You
Well,
know.
look at what's happening in our society today.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Or just when we were coming up. I mean,
Mhm.
Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1462. You know what I'm saying? 90,
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah, right.
So
And
we
and
go by that.
he discovered America. That yeah, right.
Yeah, but I mean,
He
but
didn't
because
discover anything. He found it. He found what was already here.
yeah, well, he discovered it because it was new to him,
Mm-hmm.
and because we haven't because we have been, taught what, what discovery meant. So that, and that just meant that they were trying to claim ownership of a continent
Mhm.
for
The Spanish.
the Spanish government at the time.
Mhm.
And so that's where that idea of discovered came from.
Mhm.
And then we were taught that, he discovered this land, and then all of a sudden then the land became America. And so, there was so much gaps in time and not enough information given, that when you do find out about it now, oh my gosh, look at what a horrible person Columbus was. Now that we're learning some of the truths, and although the truths were there the whole time,
Exactly.
we know that he didn't discover America because he found people there.
Exactly.
We knew that that the Spain, Isabella and Ferdinand had commissioned him to go and conquer this nation or conquer its people. I mean, we were told all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the context in which it was told
Mm-hmm.
that caused that distortion and made us believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's why, when you really, when you cannot make untruth true, because it's going to always turn out in this.
It's going to come back and bite
to the
you in the
light.
butt. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. At some point in time, it will come. It will come back to the light.
Exactly. I like to say, come back and bite you in the butt.
Yeah. And the thing is that you have to be willing and ready and able to hear it.
Mm-hmm. That's the important part. Because if you stop your ears up to what is being the truth that's being taught to you, the truth,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
then it ain't gonna do you no good.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Number 3, if you are willing to accept what is true in everything you perceive, you let it be true for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what that is saying to me is, if you are willing to accept what is true in everything you perceive, and that doesn't mean that what you perceive is not distorted.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It can be distorted, or it cannot, or it's not distorted. It's either or.
Mm-hmm.
And if unfortunately you perceive a distorted truth, it's still going to be true for you until your eyes are open, like you said, until the light is turned on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying something.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that this is what we as people, where we generally kind of, I don't want to say we make mistakes, but when we become so firmly attached to the thing that we believe,
Mm-hmm.
I perceived it, I believe it this way, and you can't tell me one way or another. I know I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this is true.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's where we don't allow other people in. We don't listen to another point of view, another perception. Mm-hmm. We are ready to defend that belief with our lives.
Exactly. And from my own experience, I I can relate to what you just said, because when I think about my struggle with this Course in Miracles, and it was like when I first started to read it, it was like, I can't deal with this, because it went against
Too much.
everything that I had been taught in church and in Sunday school growing up. And the reason it was difficult for me to accept what the Course was trying to tell me is because what the Course is trying to do is undo all of those errors and untruths that had been taught to me. And what happened was, but at the same time, it was difficult for me to accept, but at the same time, I was open to try and understand. Why? Because I read this little book called Love is Letting Go of Fear. And the way Gerald Jampowski presented the Course to me showed me that there is a healing spiritually and physically when you look at things from a love perspective. And therefore I was ready and willing to accept the truth of the Course.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But there are some people that see it as a cult, as something evil, because they are unwilling. Can I share something?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Today I was thinking about the Bible, and to me, the Bible is composed of fables, history, lessons, truths. All of those things are included in the Bible. And the very first book and chapter to me is a fable. And this is something that I have been thinking about for a long time. And the reason I say it's a fable, and I know, dyed-in-the-wool Christians will think that I'm being blasphemous. But when you stop and think about it, they put that time period as far as Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, I think something like 5,000 years BC. But yet and still, science tells us this world is billions of years old. God created the earth in the universe in 7 days. Although further along in the Bible, it tells us, but what I'm trying to say is that story about Adam and Eve and their sojourn in the Garden of Eden and being kicked out is a fable that is being taught not only by Jews and Christians, the Jewish people and Christians, but it is also taught, that same story is taught by the Buddha, by the Hindus, by the Islamics. I mean, all of those big religions, and when I say big, the major religions of the world, that story is being taught by all of them. And the way it is taught so that the average person can relate to it. If you get into all the science about it, I know I'd get lost. And there are a whole lot of others that would get lost. So you tell it in a way that people can understand and relate to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a great example, about Adam and Eve, because that's not the first story.
Exactly.
The first creation story, it ends with God created man, male and female, and he called them man. So there were no separation. There was no one came first, the other one was subordinate or as a helpmeet. everybody came in at the same time. And you
Mhm.
know, and if you look at it that way, when they say that Cain went off and married his wife in the land called Nod, and everybody said, well, where did all these other people come from? They come from the first chapter. They come from the first chapter,
Right.
you know.
Mhm.
But because it has not, you know, it has been so emphasized about Adam and Eve, because
Mhm.
that is, you know, that's the, you know, and I know you call it a fable. I have always said it, seen it as an allegory, because it tells us, it gives us an opportunity to look at the deeper meaning of things in
Mhm.
a more a more easily relatable language.
Mhm. Mhm.
But
Exactly.
Right.
yeah, but if you go around thinking that, okay, Adam and Eve, you know, Adam was a real man and Eve was a real woman, now you're going to think that these were real people and that they the ones that populated the earth. And but if we allow ourselves to, you know, to say, okay, well, that might be true for you, but it doesn't have to be true for anybody else.
Mhm.
I can hear that,
Right.
but I don't have to build my belief system around it, so much so that I hate another group of people because of it.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know,
Oh,
and that's
well,
usually what we have done. We have given ourselves so far over to the story of
Mhm.
it and somebody else's version or perception of the story, that now we are just going by somebody else's view, and we might not even have a view of it on our own.
Exactly. Exactly.
Um,
And that's what I like about this group.
yeah,
can I
yeah,
say
you
add
know,
something?
Sure, go ahead.
yeah.
Okay. So I have a question. So we talk about the Bible. So I think there's many different interpretations of Bibles, because I think what's happening now, it's rewritten so people can understanding to get the message, but it's not the same as it was kind of like written. So there's many different types of Bibles. Am I correct?
Yes, I agree with you, Forrest, 100%. And
Then
I have
say
all
that
kinds of.
again.
Another question.
He said that there are different types. There are different types of Bible, and the languages are different from one Bible to another Bible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I was. But go ahead, Forrest. What else were you going to say?
I have another question. So a lot of times, I've heard this. Let me just throw this out. God bless you, Father, Mother, God. I've
Say
heard
that
that
again.
said before. God bless me and bless me, Father, Mother, God, Mother, God.
Oh,
We
Father,
talk about
Mother,
when they
God.
say
Yeah.
yes. So talk to me, explain it to me. Tell us about that.
Personally, I think that's being inclusive for those who probably might feel offended when it's just left in the masculine. That's my opinion. What about you, Penelope?
Well, for me, it's the understanding of the balance of the masculine and feminine energies.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, Father God is the masculine energy of super consciousness, and Mother is the feminine energy
Mm-hmm.
of super consciousness. So you know, and I only know like metaphysicians to say this. Now there are different religions where you do have a feminine goddess or god. So
Mm-hmm.
you will have, you know, that feminine God energy. And then you would, but most metaphysicians, we are the ones who say Father, Mother, God.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Also, and when you look back at the ancient religions, such as the Greeks and the Romans, there were gods and goddesses. And I haven't really looked closely at it, but I vaguely remember seeing references to the matriarch, the mother and father, or masculine and feminine, within the religions or ceremonies of the Native Americans.
Mm-hmm. And I
I'm not saying, you know, that's correct, but I think I vaguely remember seeing something like that. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
I might be confusing it with something else.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, when like I said, you know, from what I know, it's just, you know, metaphysicians that say Father, Mother, God as
Right.
as a quality. Like, you know, like other religions have goddesses, and those goddesses have different, you know, charges over different specifications of that religion. Whereas they have masculine gods still within that religion that have, you know, special I guess information for that, for the masculine side of that religion. But I think it's just mostly metaphysicians where we say Father, Mother, God. I have never heard, you know, like Buddhists say Father, Mother, God, or anybody from Hindu say Father, Mother, you know. Not saying that, you know, not saying that it's not a thing. I'm just saying I have never heard it.
Okay, but I know in doing my research for the chakras, they mention Hindu. I don't remember seeing anything about the Buddhist, but the Hindu, I've seen references to Hindu gods and goddesses.
Yeah, but I'm saying as a unit.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, as a unit, like Father, Mother, God would be a unit.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
You know, and that's what I was thinking that he was referring to as Father, Mother, God, not, you know, not just their, you know, goddesses and gods.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So so it's as a unit.
Yeah.
The unity of it. Yeah.
Yeah, when they say Father, Mother, God, they mean that one. Yeah, one aspect of both
representing both. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I think is important because in Christianity, there is no feminine. You know, there's God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit, and all of them supposed to be guys. So, you
I know for me growing up in a Christian church, we never Father, Mother, God. I only
never did what?
Or heard that, but it's what's been taught. But growing up in Christian, I never heard Father, God. It's like, okay, what's that?
I can't hear you, we can't hear you, Forrest. Yeah, could you hear anything he was saying?
No, I couldn't, and he's gone.
Yeah.
But he'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be back. Yeah. But anyway, let's move on to number 4. But before we do that, I think that's one of the things that we call distortions. And if you have become,
what I was saying,
huh?
Go ahead.
I say growing up in a Christian church and Christian church, and I heard Father, Mother, God.
Yeah. Not in Christian churches. No, you're not gonna hear Father, Mother, God.
Right.
No. Because God is only male because of the patriarchy. Yeah. But anyway,
didn't we kind of touch on that when we were talking about when we went in our discussion on the Gospel of Thomas the other day?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's important because once you get to this point where you understand, okay, well, this is a distortion. I was taught this. This is no longer real for me. I don't have faith in this anymore. So now what do I do? You know, how do I find this truth?
Exactly. You know, I was just thinking about that. As a child, and I'm going from my own personal perspective and experience, as a child growing up, whatever your mother and father tell you, to you, that's gospel. I mean,
Right.
ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. What they say is the gospel truth. But as you get older and you begin to go out into society and you learn other things, sometimes those things that mom and dad taught you growing up, they were coming to you from their own perspective, their own truth. But then when you get out into society and you learn that there are other viewpoints, sometimes, depending on what the issue was or the subject was, I would get a very, a sinking feeling in my stomach, in my solar plexus, that mom and dad lied to me. And that's hard for a child to accept. But fortunately, I had a mother who, when I would ask her something, if she knew that the what I wanted to know was readily available and I could go and find it out for myself, she would not tell me, she would not give me the answer. She would say, look it up.
Right.
And the thing about that is, when you look something up and you find it for yourself, and in science and in history, a truth has to be confirmed not just by one story, but by other resources, other references. And when you look something up and you see it for yourself in black and white, which is not always the truth, but even so, if there is more than one confirming something in black and white, I would say 95% of the time, and maybe I'm not being liberal enough, but 95% of the time, it's, you can count on it. But if it's just coming from one source, yeah, why? Show me. Explain to me. Make me believe this.
Mm-hmm. For me, that's why I think that we continue always to continue to grow,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so that we can know what's going to be right for us. And that's why I think I like Inner Haven so much, because I'm not going to, we don't try to deter anybody else from whatever their perception is.
Exactly.
And we usually always preference it with, this is what I believe, or this is what I think, or this is what I have come to the conclusion of. We might banter back and forth, but how come? But in the end, hey, this is the way you think, and that's cool.
Exactly. And that's why I thank you and God every day.
Girl, isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful to be able to go to source, to understand what it is that we are putting into our hearts and our minds, and giving ourselves, time to accept it, and everything we accept, we should not fear.
Amen.
If I'm accepting it, I shouldn't accept it because I'm afraid of it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And that kind of leads us right to number 4. Oh, you were getting ready to say something, Harriet?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, truth overcomes all error, and those who live in error and emptiness can never find lasting solace.
Ooh. Solace,
What's that mean? What does that mean?
to give comfort at a time of misfortune or grief.
Okay.
And in Corinthians, now let me look it up. Corinthians, second Corinthians, first chapter, the third and fourth verse. Hold on, let me, just because I wrote it down, but I wrote down the reference point, but I didn't write down the verse themselves. Hold on just a second, let me pull it up. Grace to you and peace from God our Father, the Lord Jesus Christ. Praise the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of mercies and the God of all comfort. He comforts us in all our afflictions so that we may be able to comfort those who are in any kind of affliction through the comfort we ourselves receive from God. And basically what that's saying, because what that's referring back to is solitude, which means to be alone. And solace and solitude is finding comfort in one's own embrace without any outside involvements. In other words, you're finding solace and solitude with yourself and the God within.
Okay.
That's how I read that.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I agree with you. And when it says truth overcomes all error,
Mhm.
and when you look at this sentence, but in this section of the sentence, truth overcomes all error, that shows time.
Mhm. Mhm.
That is, that it's not a one-time thing, and that is not one size fits all, which is my favorite thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because actually one size does fit all, but sometimes you gotta squeeze into it, and sometimes you gotta pull it up some more, and sometimes you gotta,
It's spandex.
right. And sometimes you have to pop it so that it fits you better.
Exactly.
And I think
Like I said, it's spandex.
that and it says those who live in error and emptiness can never find lasting solace, because if you live in error, that's your you wake up in error, you speak error, you teach error, your whole life is all about error or some type of distortion, and you always feel empty on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
There's always going to be something that you lack, and I think that's why many of us turned away from
Organized
that.
religion.
Yes, that organized religion, simply because it wasn't fulfilling enough.
Exactly.
There was something that left us empty.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the era of the I guess what the actions, the practice of it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me to love my neighbor, but only if my neighbor looks like me.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
That's not loving my neighbor.
No, it's not. I know that these sessions, and it doesn't matter whether we're talking about discourse or any of the other sessions that we have, but I know that they are having an impact on me, because the other day, yesterday, I think it was, when I went to the store, I saw this individual who was grossly overweight, and I looked at them, and in the past, I would have had, you know, I would have come to some kind of negative type judgment about them. But when I saw that individual, I said, God, help them. You know, my prayer was, God, help them to help themselves so that they can be healthier. And
Right.
another
Totally.
incident at the store yesterday, I saw a man, and I would say a young man because he looked younger than me, in a wheelchair with one of those, I think, yeah, wheelchair, or one of those carts where you get in and ride to do your shopping in. You know, they provide it for people that
Mhm.
have problems walking.
I've been there.
And I looked at him and I said, I was thanking God that I am able to motivate on my own 2 feet. I don't know what his problem is, but I asked for a healing for him. And I was, I just felt grateful that
Good.
I am able to walk use my own power to get about. I don't need that kind of assistance.
Right.
And to me, it's things like that what is really helping me grow. In the past, I would have been ready to judge both of those individuals. Why can't he get up on there?
Okay.
Right.
Right.
And that was based on the teachings or the lessons that were being taught to me, as far as organized religion was concerned. Somebody's doing something that's wrong, you kick them out. You don't have anything to do with them. But when we
Right.
live Christ-like, he partied with what society would consider the worst of the worst.
Mhm.
And he was criticized for it. But he knew, and when we see a minister going into a bar or going into a place that we think they shouldn't be, a place they shouldn't be, I'll put it that way, whether it's a bar or anything else, where people are not, and we really don't know if people in there are not being Christ-like. Maybe they are, we just don't know it. You are not in the mind of anybody else that's
Right.
in whatever place you're in. So what we as
Right.
individuals need to do is learn to accept people for who and what they are. Because sometimes they might
Accept
need.
and respect.
Exactly. Thank you.
Mhm.
And ask for blessings for them to correct whatever errors they might be, or discomforts that they might be
Right.
suffering at the time. Ask them to be blessed.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with you. Because when we think of error, excuse me, when we think of error and that we are learning how to overcome our own errors. There's some collective consciousness error that's out there that everybody believes this. Everybody
the scribes do, yeah.
Yeah. And and sometimes it's healthy and fun, like Santa Claus. Santa Claus can be healthy and fun. It opens up the imagination of children. It gives parents an opportunity to help their children understand the difference between right and wrong. I mean, it can be positive if you allow it to be, or it can be terrifying.
Exactly.
And then when they find out that, okay, ain't no such thing as Santa Claus anyway. Yeah, so well, how come that time I did get some coal? How come that time I did get switches and coal? Did you just love Susie more than you loved me? So it can perpetuate and to turn into something negative as opposed to a teachable moment and
Mhm.
something that you let go of,
Exactly.
you know.
And also, I some time ago in the legends of Santa Claus and all, the word Santa is derived from the word saint.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I forget now what language it is, it comes from, but Santa, saint, and you know, and of course, initially, what the poem that who is it? Moore, Samuel Clement Moore wrote. The title of the title of that poem is A Visit from St. Nicholas. And whenever we see that, what do we see? What image is usually displayed with that poem? What we see as Santa Claus, and of course, in the poem itself, he is described the way he is pictured. So.
And the thing is that as a collective consciousness, we do have some things that are collectively error. But that was meant to guide and perpetuate the idea of that type of, let's say, religion or faith, and so that's the thing that helps. That's the thing that helped that. But after a while, it just became normalized, and nobody challenged it until after a certain amount. Then it just meant that, okay, now you've grown up enough to know, you're 12, you're 13. Now you've grown up up enough to know that there's no.
No such
I got
thing.
one that's right here. I can't. Although I don't think that
they're paying attention
so much. But anyway, I'll say that part for later. But but we do allow ourselves oh, he is. Oh, I don't know. I've been doing my class. I haven't. So yeah. So we close the door, baby, before the fly get in. You gonna be outside? Okay, stay right there where I can see you. Okay. Yeah. So, and that's the value. That's the value of the collective consciousness. Is that we all fit in together. We're all seeing the same thing. We're all safe in the same area. But so then we recognize one another. And one of the things that you often talk about, Harriet, is the tribalness of the root chakra. And how we come together as a tribe to recognize one another. Okay, that's a Santa lover right there. That's somebody who's gonna, look for Santa come Christmas. So so we understand, and we know that we're safe. We can be comfortable around these people because they understand us. But as we grow more, we study more, we invest ourselves in a broader picture, then we can see that, yes, okay, St. Nicholas was a Turkish Moor from Turkey. So not only was this saint that we're calling Santa a real person, he was also a black. He was also a black man, sneaking in your chimney, coming in your chimney at night, So, so one of the things that we could, if we actually would allow ourselves the wholeness of the truth, could have avoided a lot of discomfort, and still can. It still can. I was just watching something maybe last year or year before last, where had the female newscaster, and one of the things that she was saying that that Santa is white, and we're not talking. I'm not, but why perpetuate that error? If especially if you are someone who can study, who can broaden your mind, who can pass on real true information, why continue in why perpetuate error? And I think that's one of the things that that we can do as okay. I guess what's that? That's one of the things that we can do, and as we continue to grow, is the thing that I used to call error, that I used to believe in. How do I not perpetuate this thing? And how do I not ruin it for you if you're still there?
Exactly. Because I remember when I first was told by my cousin that there's no such thing as Santa Claus, I was ready to fight him. I was ready to but and I decided to Google, why is he called Santa? The name, and this makes sense. The name Santa Claus was stated to evolve from Nick's Dutch nickname, Sinterklaas. And where have you heard that before? If you watch any of the Christmas movie. And A Miracle on 34th Street, the little Dutch girl, when she's brought to Santa Claus in the movie, and she can't speak any English, and then the two of them sang this little jingle or ditty or whatever. But anyway, it's a shortened form of, and it's Sintnikolaas, which is translated as the Dutch name for Saint Nicholas. So it's Dutch. It comes from Santa Claus. Our Santa Claus comes from the Dutch for Saint Nicholas.
And that's for Santa Claus. That's not Santa Claus is not Saint Nicholas. Those are two different stories that the world has combined into one.
But wait, and what does Santa mean? It says Saint, often abbreviated to capital S, small t, dot, especially when used in the names of places and plants. And then it says a title given especially by the Roman Catholic and Orthodox churches to a very good or holy person after his death. So I just find that kind of interesting, although it's off topic.
Yeah, and all of those things are, and all of those things are important. And I think that, as we grow and we explore and we expand, it's good. It's important for us to understand why we are experimenting with the language that we're experimenting with.
Exactly.
What are we, are we, just trying to find out new information? Are we challenging old information? And, or what are the critical ways that we are trying to learn how these new concepts pertain to us?
But for me personally, it's to get a better understanding, and sometimes to satisfy my curiosity about certain things, and to perhaps, like I said, get a better understanding of why I think the way I do, or or to give me a broader knowledge of things. I guess best way I can put it.
Excuse me. Okay,
Mhm.
did you want to move on to number 5?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Okay, if you perceive truly that you are canceling out misperceptions in yourself and in others simultaneously. If you perceive truly, you are canceling out misperceptions in yourself and in others simultaneously.
Mhm.
I guess I'm having a little problem with canceling misperceptions in myself and others.
Mhm.
I guess maybe with the others that I am in direct relation to, say like y'all
Mhm.
or my friends and my family. But I guess because I can't say that I'm counseling that misperception in somebody else.
Yeah. I'm trying to think how to explain it. I think I understand it, but I'm not sure exactly how to explain. If you
I would think it's just
perceive,
planting the seed. You plant the seed, and
yeah,
that kind of grows for somebody. But I can't say that it's that that is going to cancel out your misperception, because it may not. It might, you might dig in more.
exactly. It all depends on how open
The other person
I
is.
might be to what it is you're saying. I might need you to stand on your head and do all kinds of tricks to convince me that my perception is in error. And then again, I could be open to listening to what it is you have to say and try and figure out, the truth in it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I guess for me, I'm not gonna say that it's just something that I can't see yet. This sentence number 5. If you perceive truly, and I'm saying me, if I perceive truly, I am canceling out misperceptions in myself and in others simultaneously. And I would think that, well, just let me finish this for a second.
Okay.
If I'm having this conversation with you, then you might, by what I'm saying, because we are still kind of like mind, I might be saying something that, it might help you cancel out that misperception.
Right.
Because we're kind of on the same wavelength, understanding.
Right. And also, could it be that, okay, I'm canceling out the misperception in me and I'm canceling out yours, not necessarily what you see, how you think, or what you believe, but I'm accepting whatever it is that you see and believe and think. And I accept that as your truth, even though I may not agree with you. That's how I see it. Okay. I'm not, what I'm saying is I'm not necessarily canceling out what you believe, but I'm accepting it, even though I don't necessarily wholeheartedly agree with it.
Yeah.
And I love and respect you for, standing up for what you believe.
And I guess for me, I'm still seeing that as me.
mhm,
and
mhm,
not you. I mean, even if I'm accepting you that you believe that that's
mhm.
your misperception, that's still me.
Right, right,
You
yeah,
know, that's still me canceling it out for myself, but I'm not really canceling it out for you.
for me, right.
I'm just seeing you in a different light, or a different, I'm perceiving you differently. Whereas once upon a time I might say, okay, well, you crazy as a bag of rocks, for thinking that way. But now I'm accepting that while you thinking, I don't see you crazy as a bag of rocks, but I haven't stopped you from being
That bag of rocks,
from what it is. Yeah.
yeah.
I might, and then I might pull away from having more and more conversations with you, because it becomes now a strain for me, because I can't, if I'm not, if every time we have a conversation, it turns into this,
Argument,
well, not necessarily an argument, but this is where, there's this line in the sand. You can't get past your line and I can't get past my line. We can't cross over, and we always have that we come
or
always,
straddle the lines.
right, but we always come to this same point in tension.
Mm.
So that it might make me, and I'm just saying for myself, it might make me, as I'm canceling out misperceptions, I might be canceling you out along. Right. Right along with it, not meaning that, but I would see that I have outgrown you, or I haven't grown enough into understanding your point of view yet. So,
Or we can't grow together moving forward.
Say that
Yeah.
again for us.
Or we can keep in relationships and friendships that, okay, I come to a point where, like, okay, you can be my friend, but you cannot really grow with me. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it makes sense to me.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense to me, because sometimes I can remain your friend with that. But
Mhm.
And sometimes friendships, those kind of those friendships are best severed, or as I like to say, you can love them at a distance.
yeah, exactly, because there, if I have not grown past this conversation, there's no need for me to have this conversation with you anymore.
Exactly.
Because I haven't grown past it, you haven't grown past it. We have not learned how not to communicate this idea. So this obviously means to me that somebody wants to be right. And I don't necessarily have to be right.
Right. But also, I was just thinking, it's if I want to keep you in my friendship circle, I want to stay close to you. It's a subject we just don't discuss.
Yeah, but sometimes that,
Yeah,
all depends on what the subject is. I mean, like politics. I mean,
right.
it, that this is an election year coming up. We're gonna talk politics. So, how can, if I know that I cannot bring it up around you, that's also a strain on
you,
on me. Especially if I haven't moved forward and you haven't moved forward either.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're still in the same spot, and we are still not choosing to hear from somebody else, but
Right.
yet we're gonna, somebody keeps bringing it up. And so that's why I say,
but it ain't us.
Yeah. That's why I say
somebody within the circle will bring it up, and it's like, uh-oh.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I see.
And So I think that, like I say, for me, this sentence number 5, I might still not be there yet,
Mhm.
because if you perceive truly, you are canceling out misperceptions in yourself and in others simultaneously.
Wait a minute. If you perceive truly,
You are canceling out
you're canceling out misperceptions in
in
yourself
yourself,
and in others.
in others
So if you
simultaneously.
see, if you, how, it's right there. I gotta get it out.
Mm.
If you perceive truly, then you are canceling out misperceptions in your, so I see you as you are. So I'm canceling out any misperceptions that I might have of you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, we've already said that.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that's why I'm saying, for me, I'm
Uh-huh.
still, I know that I'm counseling, I see you as you believe that you are.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can't, for me, if we're still not on the same page, that's where I would have, and I'm just only speaking for myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mhm.
I would have difficulty if I, when we do have a conversation, if in this place where where I haven't grown and you haven't grown, or we haven't grown together,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, I mean, yeah, I can accept you as you are. I don't have a
Mm-hmm.
problem with that. Never had a problem with that. And if
Right.
you never had a problem with accepting me where I am, that's cool. We are canceling out, we are perceiving truly for ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and we are perceiving truly, without, in each other.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing the truth. It's just that, I'm not always there. I'm not there yet.
Okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Because I mean, and this is one of the things that I think that spirituality has taken us for such a long time, that if that, if I'm not sinless, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I am completely without sin,
Mm-hmm.
then I can, then you can hang out with me, or I can hang out with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have said, this such and such a person is a good influence, or this such and such a person is the kind of person that you can become be better at, or look forward up to, or something. But if I allow myself, to be true to myself, then at some level, if I have not canceled out all, I mean, if I'm sorry, if I have not perceived the truth, and the truth is ever expanding.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
Mhm.
I'm going to always see the truth, more and more deeper into the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is what is as you see it be the truth.
Yeah. So, like I said, I think the sentence number 5 is, I'm not there yet.
And that's okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
And that's okay.
Number 6, because you see them as they are, you offer them your acceptance of their truth so they can accept it for themselves. See, this is kind of what we were talking about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I can,
Mhm.
I can offer you your truth. I can, I can accept it for you, but if I can't say that I'm counseling that, that you and I are coming to the same link if we're not.
Coming to the same what?
Link, like set of,
Link.
yeah, uh-huh.
Okay.
And and so I guess that, I guess for me to be able to, I'm gonna use the example again as in politics.
Okay.
There are some areas where, I stand, right along, and I understand where the conservatives believe and think. And some things are way too liberal for me, you
Mhm.
know. Some
Mhm.
things are. So, and I can understand that I might not, if I'm in a, if I'm in a still a conservative mindset, that, your liberal view still might be a little bit too much for me. I might
Mhm.
allow you, I might accept that, okay, this is what you think, this is what you believe,
Mhm.
because you see them as they are, you offer them your acceptance of their truth so they
Mhm.
can accept it for themselves. Now you might be saying, okay, yeah, yeah, I'm a liberal, but I'm not that liberal,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
But yes, I'm accepting you as an R, but for me, you offer them your acceptance of their truth so
Mhm.
they can accept it for themselves. And see,
Mhm.
I don't want to have nothing to do with you and how you do your thing. And I, that might not sound right. I might not be saying it right.
Mhm.
But I want you to believe how you believe, and I don't want to have to shift that way of the way that you think. And maybe I'm thinking about it too deeply. I don't know.
No.
Um, Also, how, whether we're liberal or conservative or
Yeah, but that
in
was an
between,
example,
the
right?
whole idea is that where we are, in whatever, whether it has to do with religion or politics or whatever, it all, our viewpoint, our beliefs are all based on our experiences in life, the things that we've had to confront during our lifetime. And sometimes a past experience can leave a bad taste in our mouth, and then something happens that takes away that bad taste, and we can do 180-degree as far as our viewpoint goes in whatever area it might be. That can happen, but I think
Yeah.
when we do have that 180-degree turn, we're more cautious, we're more and I think probably more enlightened and more aware, and we take things a little bit more cautiously. We don't just jump into it, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, because because you see them as they are, you offer them your acceptance of their truth so they can accept it for themselves. Yeah, and you're right. If I, when we do come to this common ground where we can we there is acceptance. Yes, I'm accepting. ooh, excuse me, goodness gracious, a burp. I'm accepting your point of view.
Mm-hmm,
You're accepting my point of view.
mm-hmm,
We we are understanding, and like you say, there is a place where there is that bottom line truth. I can
mm-hmm,
see it, you can see it.
mm-hmm,
And although I'm still thinking, mauve, where you only see pink,
mm-hmm,
it's
mm-hmm,
still it's there's still enough pink in it that I can see pink.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Number 7. This is the healing that the miracle induces.
Oh,
Now I can
wow.
see that. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Uh, coming together on common ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, and when we do come together in that common ground, and we do have that place of unity,
Mhm.
that healing does it does induce a healing.
Mhm.
And that is a miracle.
It is. It is.
It's a miracle when, even sometimes when I realize, okay, I have to pull away from this individual or this
Mhm.
concept or this degree of learning or this lifestyle
Mhm.
based on that it no longer suits me. And that's the truth I see. It's for me not to interrupt you on how you see it. I want to allow you to come from it, see it in truth for yourself when you see it in truth.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I think that just by giving people space and time
Mhm.
to heal on their own,
Exactly.
and that I'm not trying to tell
And
you
we
what you
each,
should do. Go ahead.
now I was gonna say, we each progress at our own pace.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. And when we
So,
allow each other and ourselves to do that and to be that person, then it
Mhm.
works out
mhm,
better.
It
Yeah,
does.
right. So
It
I
does.
think that
that's
that's
your
the
And
healing.
experience.
you don't rush anybody, and you
Right,
don't do anything to slow them down.
right,
Right.
right. Right. Because I can be glad for you when you see things my way.
Mhm.
Also, I can be happy for you. I can be happy for me that I'm allowing you to be your true self.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And
And what I
that is so liberating.
Yes, yes, it's very liberating. And it might help me, okay, well, we couldn't be friends for the longest kind of time. But now that I know that, hey, look, I can I can deal with you now because I have healed myself.
Mhm.
Well, can I share experience?
Uh-huh.
Sure.
So even being gay, I didn't understand what transgender means. But what I had to realize is if they're living their best life, I had to accept them for who they are and what they believe and stop judging them. But it was the unknowing of transgender, but more importantly, that I had to accept to let them live their best life. And that's how more liberating with me is experience.
Yeah, and that's a great example for us
Mhm.
because I remember when a couple of years ago when we talked about homosexuality, and one of the things you said, I just don't understand transgender.
Mm-hmm.
And but now look where you are now, because some time and some space, some new information has been brought in. You
Mm-hmm.
might know somebody there, like this,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see that um it's not as big as we thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we all grow and we all learn. And I think that when we do grow and we learn more, that in itself is a miracle.
Mhm,
Right.
mhm.
That in itself is a miracle. Like, and I want to just thank you, Forrest, for bringing that up, because that was, that's the whole example of this 6th paragraph.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah. What I used to think and what I think now. What I
Exactly.
used to believe and what I believe now, you know? And then you're still allowing yourself more room to continue to grow, more room to
Exactly.
experience, more room to experiment, and more room to be honest.
Mhm,
Mhm.
mhm.
But it's 6:27. That time went by fast.
It did. It's been a great session.
Yeah,
Yes, it has
yeah.
been.
What did we learn from today's session, and how can we apply it to our lives?
Well, for me, um, I think the big lesson is to know myself, know the truth about myself, and be accepting of the truth and everybody, and accepting of their truth, and moving forward, continue to grow.
Thank you. Thank you. What about you,
Well,
Forrest?
I'm in agreement with that because I realize what this group has helped me today is always remember to live my best life at who I
Exactly.
am. And I can just share this really quickly before we wrap up. For many years, I would go into like basketball games. I would be afraid because people was thinking they were looking at me because I was gay, right? So I was like, oh my God, people are staring at me. So I would be scared even to walk into different groups because I thought people were looking at me. But today's society now, accepting people for being who they are, I don't have that fear anymore. But for many years, I was afraid to go into different places because I thought I was being judged.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
wonderful. That's beautiful.
yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Mhm.
And see, this is the healing that the miracle induces.
Mhm.
For me, I think the main thing that I got from this session, it's not so much what I learned, but what I have already known,
Mhm.
and just for me to solidify that more. And this is that first sentence: the way to correct distortions is to withdraw your faith in them and invest in only what is true.
Mhm.
And that's the thing for me, is just to continue to shift my perceptions all the time. Ask myself, do I really believe this? Do I still have faith in this? And do I still believe this to be true? And as I investigate me, then I will get to this place where, here we are on what sentence was it, number 5 for me? Um,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, I do perceive this as, yeah, if you perceive truly, you are canceling out misperceptions in yourself and in others, and I'll be able to hold that whole, it would be what do you call it? Gestalt, where there are different parts, but they all fit together.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, I think that that's that's where I am right now. So I'm really paying attention to the things that are distorted in my life and in my view. And as a matter of fact, that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about in tarot on Sunday.
Mm.
Okay, good.
So just a little preview for that. So let's
Okay.
see. Tomorrow we're going to have I am at 11. Are you still available for
Hmm.
I am at 11 tomorrow for us?
Yes.
Okay. And that's from 11 to 12. And then on
Mhm.
tomorrow evening at 7, from 7 to 8:30, we have the book Flight. We're continuing in that story, the book Flight. So I'm looking forward to that. Then on
Okay.
Saturday, we will be focusing in on healing with the chakras with Harriet, and we are going to be on the
Okay.
third eye, correct?
Yes,
We'll be doing the third eye. And for Sunday for tarot, we'll be working with the major arcane from 0 to 15. And we'll be working with the two Trump suits, the two suits of pentacles and swords.
okay,
So we're moving, we're prodding right along. So just so that's
Alrighty.
it for this weekend.
great.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Say that again for us about tomorrow.
So see y'all tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
Okay, let's pray. Let's
Okay.
give our prayer out first. Would anyone like
Okay.
to pray us out, Harriet? You normally close us out in prayer.
yeah, I do. I would like to close us out with the prayer from the second chapter of A Course in Miracles. The chapter a special principle of miracle workers. Because I think that's what we are. We are miracle workers.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we will just close our eyes and concentrate on the words of this prayer. I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent Him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because He who sent me will direct me. I am content to be whatever He wishes, knowing He goes there with me. I will be healed as I let Him teach me to heal. And so it is.
And so it is. Okay, super cool, everybody. Thank you all so much. I have enjoyed this session. Oh, wait a minute.
It has been a wonderful session. It has been great.
There we go.
Bye all.
Goodbye.
Bye bye. See you tomorrow.
Love you all.